Okay. Yes, Bitcoin is moving now. But what kind of marketplace do you want to be in? Do you want to be in a marketplace that moves continuously? Or when you see Bitcoin burp and now everyone's like, quickly, Bitcoin to 100K? Tonight's topic, ladies and gentlemen, is to help you understand the differences between forex and the cryptocurrency marketplace. This move in Bitcoin is not that much of a big move, okay? Given that it's only going to where it's previously been, when I say move, I'm talking moving continuously. Now, paying attention to Bitcoin's price right now is quite good, given that it's actually moved quite well. And of course, the title and the thumbnail was before this bad boy comes onto play. Mr. Market Maker's decided to pull a little number on me. So, tonight's live, I'm no longer in the jester suit. Ha! I've been jested. But I hope you enjoyed that little stunt that I pulled earlier on today. But my goal tonight is to show you the differences between cryptocurrency and the forex market. I'm going to be going over a few trade setups that I released out earlier on this week, just to show you what I mean about the volatility in other marketplaces. Some of you might be fixated and done with crypto. You might see this and be like, okay, cool. I'm used to this kind of flavor with Bitcoin. When you see these sort of moves that appear out of the blue, it just shows you its volatility. Now, this move could be happening on decent volume. If it's not on decent volume, well, we're going to be showing you very shortly from the point of view of exo charts, is it really a decent move from Bitcoin? Okay, remember what we said about October. The October effect is pretty simple. It can move up, it can move down. Okay, now today we've had a very interesting play in the marketplace. NASDAQ is down minus 1.3%. That's another distribution day on the NASDAQ. The S&P is also down nearly 0.65%. Not so much a distribution, but it's still selling off. But given that the indices themselves have finished higher for the fourth week running. Okay. Now, with that being said, we are going to go into a few altcoins, but I'm going to be showing you the differences on the forex pairs and the crypto pairs in terms of volume to get you to understand why it's so important that you pick an asset class that's suited to your style of trading. All right. Cool. That should be enough for tonight and be enough to take into the weekend. Let's go and have a look at Bitcoin's burp. All right, then, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get started off with the following thing. All right. Firstly, crypto volume. Now, this is an old article, but it just shows you what the story is. Crypto trading volume slumped to its lowest level in the year in August. OK, now, when you have a market cap that is low, when you see these volatile moves, then you need to justify it. Like, is the volume there? All right. And this is the problem with cryptocurrency. All right. The volume is very sparse. It doesn't appear all the time. It's just out of the blue. So let's put things into perspective. Okay. The NASDAQ has an average daily volume of around $4.7 billion. Well, 4.7 billion. Okay. Now, the NASDAQ is made up of stocks. Okay. It represents the movement of stocks. Tesla, like not in NASDAQ, but Microsoft, Google, okay? Now, these guys have got big market caps, all right? That's the stock market. But then you've got Forex. Now, Forex has a daily turnover of $7.5 trillion. 7.5 trillion per day. That's crazy. That is crazy movement of an asset class. That's why people trade Forex, because you do get the volatility. Let me show you what I mean. So this week, for the Platinum guys, I've been sharing lots of setups for them, okay? And we've had success in all of them, okay? A lot of what I start off with is all to do with the dollar dominance, okay? And oil. Now, this is the oil chart. So here's one asset class. Oil. It moves like crazy. Now, especially now that we've got a war going off, oil is very, very subject to big movements in price. Now, look at oil. This is what we projected. Oil support inside of this zone to effectively see oil moving back up. That's what we anticipated, okay? Look at all the vector candles right here, okay? This is what we're looking for. Now we go into oil's price action itself. Don't worry, Bitcoin. We'll be seeing that vector very shortly. Don't worry. Oil has now made a 5% move for the day, okay? Not bad. And all you can do with oil is play the vectors. So far, it's sticking to the story. The support has been found inside of this range right here. Okay? It's moving up to recover the vector candles. Happy days. Doesn't stop there. Go back into the chart. We'll go have a look at another asset class. Euro. In this post, I expected Euro to recover the vector candles. Okay? And what we mostly really wanted as well was Euro to end lower in an update earlier on today. Well, this morning's update where I projected that Euro would move up to come down, test the psychological low. And that was in a video update. Okay, we go into Euro and you can see what Euro has done. The guys will know Euro took the psychological low and finished lower for the day. Took our green vector candle region right here. Happy days. So Euro's done fantastic. We go into another setup. What we got here? This was NASDAQ. At the start it was on the 11th. We projected that NASDAQ would be ending lower. Okay. My target was down at the 15,000 zone. We go into the NASDAQ itself, and we can see that NASDAQ finishes down 1.27, and it's actually come back into the vector candles that I've been having on here for you guys every day I've been going live. And it tapped the 15,063. Maybe not 15,000, but not bad from the top. Okay? Happy days. Next, we also had over here, we had Bitcoin. We had a little target on Bitcoin, which was the only move that we got. A nice little vector candle recovery. Target 2 has been achieved on Bitcoin. Okay, so we go back into Bitcoin. What was that? 27.4? I'm hoping that it was that case. Bitcoin. 27, nearly 27.4, but not taking it quite yet. But we got a vector candle region up there. So it looks like it was on its way. But I'm a little bit cautious about this move. Okay. Going into another asset that we spoke about, we looked at gas, okay? Now, here was gas right here. So this was the yields. We look at the yields as well, all right? But this was the Euro trade, which was phenomenal. And where was my... Well, there was pound as well. Pound, we expected pound to go up towards 123.544. What am I getting with all of this, guys? What I'm saying to you all is this. That cryptocurrency doesn't necessarily move as aggressive as the forex market. We know that's going to be the case, right? Look at Euro. Look at this, phenomenal movement to the downside. But when you're zooming out, you can see that you're always going to get movement. The times that you don't get movement are when the markets are pretty much flat. And that's in the Asian session sometimes. But then you get this bad boy here. Look at this. From 9 o'clock in the morning all the way up till about 8 o'clock in the morning the next day, you had continuous movement on Euro, and it moved up 126 pips. That's phenomenal. You can't get that all the time with Bitcoin. There have been so many times when cryptocurrency just does nothing and the marketplace is going crazy. Now, that can be a bit frustrating for the person that might be in a trade with Bitcoin, okay? We just go into another asset. Look at gold. Look at that. We've been calling these zones all week. That is what I'm talking about. I like these plays. You won't get this in cryptocurrency because, unfortunately, cryptocurrency operates on the following basis. It's all about sentiment, okay? We go down here. It says trading volume reflects the market sentiment, investor confidence. When trading volume is high, it indicates increased participation and interest in the market. You ain't seeing this move in crypto unless it's a parabolic move by Bitcoin, which then it is short-lived, okay? Some of you might beg to differ with it, but this is what you look for. You look for an asset class that really will give you the flavor. Now, you've also got to take into consideration the story with why knowing what's going on in the market is going to help you pick your asset class. So, from that perspective, the yields, they've been moving up. Okay, look at dollar dominance. Let me bring it back to you. Go back into this chart right here. Okay, here's the dollar. We expected dollar to come and sweep this liquidity over here. Why? Because dollar gives clues. Because what are they doing? They are favoring the dollar. Why? Because of what's going on. Okay? High interest rates, inflation, economic activity, war, oil going up. Okay? The red vector candles give us the clue that they're getting ready to come back to these zones. So you've always got to have in your mind that these guys are going long on dollar, exploiting the idea that they can pick up more euros for less dollars because dollar is appreciated by 6%. Okay? You go back into the dollar dominance chart and you can see that dollar dominance has had its fair run and it's come back into our vector candles. Okay? Now, why is this important? Because look at the support, these two areas here. And in the article itself, in the post itself, I go on to explain the story with Dixie. Dixie's currently showing support at the 105. If Dixie breaks this zone, we would expect support to come in around the 105, 500 zone. Okay? And then, of course, I go into the logic and break down and justify why this setup will work, why this setup may need to happen, this, X, Y, and Z. Okay? I don't just provide a setup or a signal. I get you to understand it for yourself. Okay? So that you can then say, yes, Tino, I agree, or no, Tino, I don't agree. And then we've got history of the fact that what happened afterwards. So then you can see if it worked out, it worked out. Then we have an understanding now. What was being applied at this point? What was my thinking at this point in the chart? Why do we pay attention to the yields? Why do we pay attention to all of that stuff? Because it tells us where the flow of money is going. Now, cryptocurrency, let's dive into Bitcoin right now. What is the problem with... Hold on a second. What's happened to Bitcoin? Oh, never mind. It's come straight back down. Surprise, surprise! You know the story. Anyways. Now look. Look at this. You see this? This is XO. The market maker does not like an empty shop. They're coming back for this. Okay? And it's all been done on relatively light volume. Okay? Out of nowhere, 23,000's just come into play. Doesn't make sense. This is a stop run. Okay? Now, for me, if Bitcoin is going to continue, I really need to see Bitcoin continue away from this point and show proof of the red vector, of the green vector candle recovery. Now, just to put this out there for anybody that was asking, there are two ways that you can utilize the midpoint of the vector candle. Seeing this candlestick right now, we have got a fair exchange of vector and price, or the wick, okay? Look at how there's now more of a green vector down below, but the midpoint is right here. Well, they've recovered that zone right there, but there's still more of a green vector over here. That tells me that they could be potentially getting ready to roll Bitcoin back down into this range. Now, what I would ideally want to see is I want to see this candlestick turn into a red vector candle, because then I'd have more confidence in the green vector red candle, the green candle red candle formation, which tells me that they're going to drop it down to bring it back up. But if it doesn't turn into a red vector on the 1 hour time frame, then we're going to have ourselves a bit of a problem, because it then tells me that the volume itself, or the move, is not really good. Okay? Now, let's just have a look at who just went long. Okay? Let's have a look at this. This is where it gets very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? What is going on here? Come on, my guy. Give me that flavor. Here we go. Okay, so let's just find out who's buying and who is selling. Man, this thing operates like a... So we've had $69 million worth of longs opened at 27,095. That's Twitter. Straight up. $69 million worth of long liquidations at 26,946. That's Twitter. So those guys have been liquidated, and that's the sad truth. Now we have a violet vector. Things are getting interesting. Bitcoin has now gone and recovered most of the green vector candle. The start of the next hour candle will dictate if this move has been a trap to bring Bitcoin lower. Why? Because our lovely NASDAQ took a smack to the downside. Our lovely ES took a smack to the downside. Our lovely dollar has been climbing, okay? Our lovely bonds have been consolidating in line with our little setup that we've got going off here. Where do we see that bad boy? Let's just bring it back for you, ladies and gentlemen, just to put it into perspective. Here we go. Where are my yields? Where are my yields, Tino? My yields are not there. Oh, by the way, that was gas. There was our gas setup. And gas, this is what I mean about movement. This is gas. Look what happened next with gas. Oh, my days. NG, happy days. Look at this. Goes in, up, goes down, goes back up, comes down, goes back up, and then it comes back down. Vector candle recovery. Look at that. That'll be something nice for you guys next week. Keep an eye on these zones right here. Let's go and have a look at what's going on with Ethereum. Well, Ethereum's gone to spike up to come back down. Okay. Bitcoin's still holding out. That's good. Okay, that's good news for us. Okay, so we are okay. So far, so good. We've got the violet vector, but we still got 41 minutes. I need this to turn into a red vector candle. Why? Because then I will be more confident that it can actually try and work its way up again, okay? Because it will come back and recover the violet vector. I still got 41 minutes for this bad boy to establish itself, okay? Looking down below, we can see we have got liquidity down here. I mean, look, we've got $146 million worth of long liquidations at 26.47, okay? Now we go into our lovely book. What have you been up to, Bookmap? Selling above the VWAP. Okay. Now we want to know if the limit buys are going to come in or not. Here we go. So what we got? 540 Bitcoin at 26,610. All right. We got 1,051 Bitcoin at 27,280. That's very interesting. So this zone, this move could try and get that liquidity, but they canceled it and then replaced it. So we've got to be very cautious with this area. This could be a spoof. It could be a fake order. All right. So keep that in mind. Let me just go and have a look at, let me have a look at exo charts. Put that into perspective. Here we go. So look, we've got gaps in here. They've cleared that gap, but they've still left this area here. And we've got this area down here that we need to be mindful of. Again, guys, if you're in this trade, please take some profits, man, because you can see the treachery of it. Now we've got fair and square orders. We've got a few, oh, look at that, 52 Bitcoin trapped at the highest point. Phenomenal. Let me just put this straight up here and then have a look at the depth of market over here. All right, so what have we got? So we have got Bitcoin right now trailing towards the daily open right here, but it's now come back down again. But the thing is, it's now moved away from value area low, okay? So we could only assume it's going to try and work its way back up, all right? But you've got to remember, guys, this is a move that's happened out of hours, and the day's range in principle is 27, 11, 18, down the way, all the way down to 26,833, and it's closer towards that. So we've got to be very careful here, paying attention to the order flow. And I can see that we have got a lot of guys canceling orders here. But I'm not really seeing the pushes just yet. I really want to be looking. Here we go, 45 there, 52. Okay, that's good. So if we can see a positive close on that candle, then that'll be good news for us. That order's just got a bit bigger. Here we go. 1,082 Bitcoin orders. That order just got a little bit bigger. Okay, so we've got to be careful of that. Okay, then go to 5-minute time frame. So here we are. Now we've got a vector candle. Green vector candle. The midpoint. We are at the midpoint recovery of this zone right now. So it's really, this is the point for Bitcoin to make or break, because they've come back down to quickly come back up. So this is the make or break of this move. What else you got? Tino, big time token. So right now I'm looking at a flag on the hourly. Will it break up? Let's have a look at a big time token. What has that bad boy been doing? Well, it's recently been listed, so there could still be a bit of hype. There is some profit taking here, but I'd be just cautious about it on the 14-cent zone. That's all I'm saying to you, bro. Can you check if we have a CME gap now? Do we have a CME gap on exo charts? it won't necessarily provide me with the gap. Let me just put that over here. Okay, then. So we are right now working our way back up into these imbalances. I need to see here we go. Here's the imbalances, but we're coming back into the violet vector candle on Bitcoin. Hold on, let's just get Bitcoin back up again. We've got the flavor, 80%, 0.8%. Here we go. Right. This is where it gets interesting. Vector candle recovery right there. Happy days. 200 EMA could be a promise if they can sustain it, but we've got 37 minutes before the actual candle finishes. So I would be very cautious and wait until this candle finishes. Okay, look on the smaller time frames, because now they recover this vector candle. All right, this area here is going to dictate what happens afterwards. We would ideally want to see green and blue vectors appearing in this zone, because we want to know if this has just been a sweep up to come back down. Okay, so keep that in mind. What else have we got? Saif, take your shirt off, please. My bro, what is going on? Why does he want me to take my shirt off? Okay. Right, another asset for you. So I'm going to quickly go look at the live order flow. Here we go. So 345 million on shorts on Ethereum have come into play, but the volume is still relatively low. We've got 290 million on Bitcoin. That's okay. 238, 205. Okay, so that's decent. Obviously, just before the move happened, we've got this big play right here. That's actually advertised. Hold on a second. Let's just work this out. At 10 o'clock, okay? When did the move happen? 10 to, okay? This is retail. This is retail right now. This is retail traders. Because look at the flow of volume. At 10 o'clock, before the move happened, because the move happened at 10 to 10, okay? At 10 o'clock, you had 11 million on the futures. You had 13 on spot, 88 million on Ethereum, okay? Then on Bitcoin at 5-2, you had 14 million. Then you got 220 million after that 5 minute cut at 10 to 5 minutes after, okay? Then you've got all this retail money coming in now. I need to see. Now you've got 345 million on the shorts. So you've got to be careful with this range, ladies and gentlemen. If they can break out of it, then we would naturally expect to see a little bit more of a movement up, okay? But now they've recovered the vector and moved back up again. That's okay. But we want to wait until the hour is done. You might be thinking, what, Tina, I'm missing out on volatility, man. It's moving up, Tina. We're going to be going to the upside. Happy days. But look at the flavor, man. Look at how they've been behaving. They move it up to come down, up to come down, up to come down, up, consolidate, green vectors, to effectively try and clear some of the range, because we do have vector candles that Bitcoin can come and take, okay? But it's all about how long you decide to stay in a profit for. Are you paying yourself? This is the at most. That would then put Bitcoin from the daily open, that will put Bitcoin up 2.5%, okay? That's not bad for Bitcoin. That's standard procedure for Bitcoin. Again, for my guys that are using the hybrid system, be careful. Because once this candle finishes, wherever it finishes inside of here, there's a potential for it to recover, because everyone's running right. Here we go. Everyone's running into the chart right now, okay? So just be careful with that, all right? You can see what they've done what they've just done. It's about the news that the SEC is not appealing the case. Okay, cool. So the SEC is not appealing the case anymore. Happy days. If that's the case, let's see if this is enough to get people interested in it. Because why should it affect Bitcoin? You know? In other words, XRP is up. Now we've got some zones in XRP that we would expect them to try and take. Look at that. Earlier on, we drew off the vector candles of the green of the 50% of the vectors. Look at how they respected those two ranges, man. Look at that. And then they shift out. How cool is that? Awesome. Look left. What are you trading towards? Trading towards vectors. And again, this is when I say to people, when you're in a trade and when to take a profit, like we said last night, when we were talking about trading towards a specific area, which will justify why do you need to close the trade? What reason do you have to close the trade? Okay. The only thing that you need to move is your trailing stop, okay, or your stop target where you're placing your position. So for example, if you've placed a long here, okay, and then it moves up in your favor, You move it up, break even, okay? And then you keep on moving it manually. I would set it manually, okay? Letting these bots do it, you can get shaken out and then it goes in your favor, right? And then you move it again, keep an eye on it. This is the only thing you move. You do not move your stop loss. You move your trailing stop. Just keep on moving it. Give it a little bit of freedom. Let it move because it's it's cryptocurrency, all right? And then play that game. If you are all in longs right now, you should be doing this practice. Get your position locked off. That means this is where you entered on the daily open, and then this is where where Bitcoin is at right now. Take 50% of it. Mark off the midpoint of that green vector candle, and that is where you are happy. If Bitcoin comes down, you've made yourself a bit of cash. What it does after that, if you're going to stay up all night and watch it, you then naturally move your trailing stop manually. Keep moving it in line with the way Bitcoin's behaving, because then it's just a free game for you. You've got your profit locked below, but don't go too far down and give more back just because you think it's going to continue to go up. You're not in a position to be thinking it's going to go up. You're in a position to be reacting to if it does go up. What do you do? You're reactive to what it does, okay? Not what you think it will do. There's a big difference, because if you think it will keep on going up, you'll remove that trailing stop and go to bed and not even care about it, okay? So keep that in mind when you are in a profitable position. How many of you are in a profitable position right now? What are you guys saying? Let's have a look. It's a tough range. What is the target of a possible bull run? When you what do you mean? As in, what is Bitcoin's target? Oh, let's put things into perspective here. What do you define as a bull run? This is a little bull run. Are we talking the bigger picture on the NASDAQ, on the S&P, or Bitcoin overall? I'm not going to sit here and say Bitcoin's a 500,000. No, I'm not going to say that. Because naturally that's going to happen. We've got a supply of 21 million coins, and we're saying that in the next 5-10 years, Bitcoin's still going to have that interest because there is interest in cryptocurrency. That is just standard. So anyone that says Bitcoin 220K, 300K, a million, it's going to happen because as time progresses, we get more and more and more of cryptocurrency. We're going to get the adoption of cryptocurrency. JP Morgan and all those guys have set up their own way of actually exchanging cryptocurrency amongst themselves. Okay, so naturally, Bitcoin is going to go up because there's going to be a use case for it. El Salvador, it's legal tender over there. You know, it's going to go up, but it's about the spots that you pick when it's getting ready to go up. Are you going to take money from it? Okay. Now, a lot of guys in crypto will buy and hold and leave it, okay? They'll scratch their heads when Bitcoin's going down because they're going to work out if they should buy more or not. Or is it hurting the wallet? Is it hurting the portfolio? What do I do now? If Bitcoin is going down, ladies and gentlemen, get yourself into other assets. Look at gold. Gold has shot up. It's one of the truest hedges. When gold drops, Bitcoin moves up in principle. You then say to yourself, okay, then I don't need to do anything. Okay, but if gold starts to move up, it's the hedge being played, all right? And people are trying to look for safety. Bitcoin hasn't shown itself as the safety mechanism just yet. But then saying that, ladies and gentlemen, we go back into the chart and we look at Bitcoin from a daily perspective, and we then say to ourselves, well, what has Bitcoin been doing? Quite frankly, Bitcoin has just been trading sideways. Well, since June, it's just been trading sideways. Hasn't done much. For a whole, over a year, Bitcoin hasn't managed to get nowhere. But it hasn't, it came down and swept this area here. Good old Sam Bankman-Fried, we have responsible for that. But it's been stuck in this boring range, okay? And people are using this range to determine Bitcoin to go to 80 or 100,000. Let's start having a conversation, ladies and gentlemen, when Bitcoin gets back to 50. All right. And then Bitcoin can get back up towards 64, because I am going to say it to you now. Do not ignore these vectors. No. You do not ignore these vectors. No. I may look at vectors down below, but do not ignore these vectors. And you know where the price points are, because there is a logical explanation to why Bitcoin could move up towards those points. all right? We can see 3 trillion market cap again. We can. Where we are here, right? That is where Larry Fink was like, cryptocurrency, you mad. Now we're here and we have got JP Morgan and BlackRock in bed together sorting out a tokenization of cryptocurrency or a platform for themselves. We're in a different time right now, which is why you can justify Bitcoin going up in the future. Of course it is. But what kind of boring ass conversation is that? Let's think about it. Where do you think Bitcoin's going to go, bro? I think it's going to go to 500,000. Wow. I want to go to bed at night, wake the missus up. Hey, should we buy some Bitcoin? How much is it? It's 27,000 now. It's going to go to 500,000. What? Really? Yeah. Okay. All right. What do you want to do? Should we move into your mum's? Yeah, let's sell the house. Okay, cool. You brought it at 27,000. Now you got your missus. You're living in your mum's house with your mum and the missus, and they both know that you sold the house to buy Bitcoin because you heard someone say it's going to 500,000. If that was the case, why isn't it going up now? That's how the retail trader is going to be thinking, ladies and gentlemen. You know? Because that's all we get. We get these price points. I need a smack to the downside. I need that smack. And the reason I need it is because then I'll be justified that they've cleared this range. The range I'm talking about in principle is the 20,356. I need that zone done. I need them to go and tap it. And then from there, we will know exactly what the real deal is with cryptocurrency if the heavyweights have been holding it. Just signed on. Why are you talking about my mum? What do you mean? I ain't talking about your mum, bro. What is it? Listen, what's this story about me being shirtless, man? Why? Who wants to see that? Really? Do you want the buttons undone? Do you want me to do all of that stuff? That's platinum members, ladies and gentlemen. There's money to be paid for that service. You don't just go on the internet and expose. Come on. You got to get paid in some way. It's a business. I'm thinking about it, man. You know, I might as well. It's what the people want, you know? So, back to the charts, please. It's exciting. Is it exciting? Okay. Let's have a look. What's going on? What's going on? Man, it's not exciting. Come on. Is it really exciting? You really want that, don't you? You really want that. Only smacking will be going on here. How funny is that? Yes, I'll call it Only Wicks. You like that one? This guy said it. Yeah, Byrony. Only Wicks. I like it. Show them your elbow. Show them my elbow. Wait a second. Why do you want to see my elbow? Nah, man, I ain't doing none of that. Take a look at Bitcoin 2.0. Oh. Not doing much. It's dropped. It's closed. Market is closed. NASDAQ is done. It's time to go to bed for NASDAQ. Finished. Start a new week. Hopefully we get a bit of a gap down in NASDAQ at the start of the week. And look at Tesla. Came down to our zone, 249. Nice. Gap down. Closed it. Green vector candle region. They tapped it and moved away from it. Happy days. Anyone that shorted that bad boy. Well done. Okay, then. So now Bitcoin. Let's just go back into it. And look, it's just now listen, it's just plain BS zones now. All right. And just, you guys are going crazy, man. We just want to pay ourselves to, keep your dang shirt on, bro. Oh, trust me, I will, my friend. This guy, show him the back of your ear. What a clown. I was the clown earlier on, I thought if we break around 24K lower, we are done. It will continue to go lower. Look, the problem with cryptocurrency is this, right? People want it to go lower to make it cheaper. So imagine you've got this influx of people waiting for Bitcoin to get cheaper. Okay? But imagine if they all get in now, then it drops. Talk about a trap, you know? Okay. What have we got? Don't be smacking the suit in any chance. Is this a potential M building on Bitcoin in 15 minutes? 15-minute time frame. There's if you're going to be looking for an M formation in this area, ladies and gentlemen, it's not fully complete yet. You are looking for that to happen, okay? Now, if we go into smaller time frames, 1 minute, there is your M, okay? So, here's a little bit of schooling. This is what you call F the dealer. That would be the logic of what constitutes an M formation. You're seeing it developing. There are two things that can happen in this point, okay? Bitcoin can flush out the liquidity and sweep up. Can we justify it? Go into the book map and exo charts. What have we got? Have we got any imbalances? There are no imbalances up here, okay? No imbalances. So this could be the range. It could be done, right? Because I'm not seeing the positivity of buyers stepping in or aggressive buyers coming in here, all right? Not yet. They would have to appear in this candle, and you can see it's starting to get a little bit light, right? We got minus 1% on the, plus 1% on the delta, 0% on the delta, and it's very low volume. So although it can sweep up, just be careful with this range, which is why it's called for the dealer, because the dealer now is going to try and trap people in this zone. But if he gets the commitment coming in, and you can see the volumes coming in, they get, look, 820 million on Bitcoin at 25 past 10, okay? 820 million on futures markets, all right? So there is interest coming in at this point, right? This would be a perfect time to flip it to the downside. But it's about what's going on here. Now, this is about trade management on what you're doing with your long. This is where you're making a decision. Is it for the dealer range? Do I close it, go short? Do I hold on the idea they could go up higher in this point? Okay? You've got to ask yourself, how are the candlesticks behaving to justify the idea of them actually setting up another attempt towards the highs? Because at this point right here, we go back into exo charts and we look at the differences between the two wicks. You've got imbalances up here that have just been shaken out. Look at those green things there, yeah? And then they spiked up to come down. But we don't really have that much commitment up here, okay? So you've got 413 on the ask. And they've just paid the price and been liquidated. So now we've got to look at it from this perspective. Now we're seeing the negatives coming in here, the negative deltas as such, imbalances, all right? They're starting to load up. We just had a bit of absorption just there, okay? So the buyers have stepped in. Here we go. Point of control of that candlestick's coming in. 108 on the bids, 78 on the ask, okay? We really need them to not be overwhelmed on the bids. We need to see the ask be lift from here, because then that means they would have absorbed these sellers here and then continue up. So we're going to see this zone. This area here is important. Watch this. This area here is very important. That zone right there will prove as to whether or not they can actually get the same interest, because the same interest from that point will then garner interest up here, because the market will naturally travel towards that point. Because it's saying, okay, look, I've got guys here that I want to pay. Okay, cool. Let's see. And then here we go. Now, look, this is important. 8-11, we've got the interest. Not many people are selling from that point till they do. So this is what you're looking at right now. Okay, look. See that? 23 just smacked it down. Someone stepped in to sell. I'm going to try and go again. Okay, this is what you're looking at in terms of the footprint. Down below, we've got minus 1% on the delta. So you've got divergence on the delta where price is positive, but it's closing lower as it's going up. Okay, so they really need to move this candle higher for the delta to be positive to eliminate the idea of divergence. Okay, do you see what happened just there? Just in that same spot, there were more sellers than there were buyers. So they've just gone and swept that zone, come back down again. Now they've come back down to testing this point right here, 111 and 80, all right? So now we need to pay attention and look at what the 80 is doing and the 111. Look, no one was there. No one brought. So they now need to go lower. It's the next point. Here we go. We've got a balance here. Imbalance, 23 and 6. Here we go, 715 selling, okay? So now this is the ultimate area here. where we're going to see if the buyers can support this area and hold. This is depth of market. It's footprint chart talking now, okay? Now we're going to pay attention. Can we see the buyers stepping at this point? They're selling, no interest. They're not there. Trying to come in at this point here, still no interest. Here we go. Now they're back up, but that order didn't play. No one transacted at that point. So that's very interesting. Here we go, going back up. It's all light. It's light. Now we want to see if they're going to try and sell from that point again. And what we're doing here is just understanding the flow of liquidity. It's hard to do. But what you've got to try and do is say to yourself, look, you've got to develop the idea that when you talk into this chart, and as we go over this, you'll then start to develop something in your mind where you become familiar with how something behaves. So you've seen now they've come up to that point and no sellers, no buyers came into that zone. I expect that to be resistance. So if price comes back up to that point again and can't clear it, I'm going to run a short from that point till I can get at least a couple of ticks profit, okay? Just from that point. Now I'll go into this point, 120.61. There's an imbalance between that, and it still wasn't enough to get price higher. We're going to go to this point right here. Now we're going to test the same narrative. So then you then say, okay, do I look at a short from here? Remember, this is why I trade futures, because I can take advantage of a couple of ticks, a couple of handles, okay? I know Bitcoin is hard to trade on other exchanges because you've got fees to work with. That's why people go into trading when they trade Bitcoin and they want these big moves so they can cover the fees, okay? So now we've got ourselves an interesting story here. No one's coming at 120. They need to come and hit that again for me to believe they can go higher, but they're working their way lower. I'm looking down below. The true liquidity test is all the way down here with these imbalances. That's what we're looking for. Okay, here we go. They're going lower. Now we've got an imbalance, 32.59. It's picking up. 67 is going to try and hold. No, could be closing negative. Now it's minus 9% on the delta. So now they've taken control. Now it's going to look to start working lower because the next significant point in this chart, if they can hold this, because look, bids on the ask right there, 57 and then 26. Just pay attention to, look, it's now, you're seeing the pressure of price working lower and lower. Look, they're not coming in. That needs to be positive. That's a huge imbalance, okay? They need to try and hold this zone because now they're getting into an area where they can grab interest from traders. Look, 97, 66, 67, 23. What's it just done? It's come all the way back up to that 61. Remember, we wanted that area right there. So we need to, this is what you're looking at. You're looking at the balance. And what zone do they hit more of and move away from? And what zone do they go down to move away from? That's how you use the footprint. In my opinion, when you get the idea, here we go, new candle, here we go. So this battle has been completed now. The auction right here is done. We are only going to pay attention to these big points here. So here we go. Now we've got this area here. They started off on a little bit of a sell, but it's not enough candle data for us to suggest that yet. Okay, here we are. We need to see at this point, we want to see these guys on the ask lift price to go up again. This will be the principle of recovering the wick. So we're going to now see the proof of it. Now we're coming up. I want to see positive, big green deltas coming into play at this point. Because if they don't buy from this point, then we would assume that's an area of resistance. Okay? So we need to wait and see. Are we going to grab that? And this is where you make a decision. This is the point where you say, okay, if I believe that's going to be the case, you run a short from that range. Okay? Hypothetically. Right now, we've got this. So it's light volume. Okay? Where would you set your stop in principle? Well, you would look, depending on Bitcoin's move, you would say, I'm going to set my stop roughly around, well, you've got to factor in fees, yeah. So it's going to, you'd have to put a decent stop there. But anyways, here we go. Look, notice that area there, 120. Now we've got an imbalance right here of 14. So that area's got interest in, okay? So I'm paying attention to this, but I've got sellers coming in at the same time, all right? So you're paying attention. So imagine that you were running a short from here, for example, all right? That, and you were using this idea that the 120 was where the buyers were before. Are they going to come in again? Okay. Now you see it's 17, but it's not 120. All right. So you're like, okay, do I play the short? How long do I stay in the short for? What if I want to change direction? Right. So you cut the trade, for example. Now you want to see the trade change direction. Cool. You're scalping. Now, if the balances come into play, there we go. So you've changed direction. Hypothetically, they've recovered the wick. It's now moving back up to the next point right there where they previously sold from. Man, that has just blown me apart. Wow. That has just blown me out. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a wonderful weekend, okay? You want more on the hybrid system. You want to see this kind of stuff. Go to the Traders Reality website. As a platinum member, as a gold member, you get access to live trading. You get access to all sorts of stuff, masterclasses, the trade setups. You also get the course, the free course as well. You can get that as a bronze member. Bitcoin is coming up to that 80 zone, 27,025. Just keep an eye on that bad boy. Guys, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Mad love and respect. And I'll be checking in with you on Monday. Peace.